So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I know a lot of you have got off very long flights. I know it's also a miracle that you're still here and still awake. So I really appreciate that. I'm not going to speak for too long. I'll only mention ExpressVPN very briefly because I plan to harass you all on Friday. My team and I will be at the conference. We'll all be in these t-shirts. We've got the logo on the back. Do come find us. We do want to talk to you, despite how it might look. And of course, the critical thing, the reason why I'm getting people out here, we are actively hiring. Critically, we're actively hiring in Hong Kong. This is where we're focusing on building our tech hub, our R&D. And we are specifically hiring right now for Linux engineers, but also for Rust engineers. We're looking for very senior Rust engineers that can come and show us, how to do things that we've never dreamed of doing in Rust before. And again, like from the talks we're seeing today, that level of knowledge is clearly in the room. But we're also looking throughout the entire scale. So if it's someone who, who's like starting their career or they're just really interested in Rust, we have internship positions. We're interested in people that have that excitement, that drive, want to create something cool. If you're further on in your career and you want something that's more advanced, or you've got familiarity with Rust, again, maybe you haven't used Rust in your day job. Many of us haven't been able to pull that off yet. But if it's something you're doing in your spare time, even if you're writing, C++ or C during the day, and you fancy a change, we might be able to help you out there as well. And again, very similar for the Linux side. If you're interested in Linux, if you're interested in building privacy-aware operating systems, and particularly in our case, things that are repeatable, stuff that we can run in memory, or you just have great ideas about how you can change the privacy space, then we would definitely love to talk to you. So if you look in your bags, assuming you have the bags handy, you will find one of these. I will skip forward because I have pictures of it. If you haven't got your bag, make sure you don't leave without it. Everyone should have one of these. It's a RUSTAsia project. The badges that you have aren't yet open hardware, they are open firmware. The open hardware version is coming soon. I can talk about that very briefly in a minute. And we were actually at RUSTAsia last week. We were one of the sponsors there. We didn't have a booth, but we did basically mooch around and annoy people. And this was one of the projects that we were very keen to bring back. Now, everybody has mugs and t-shirts. We have those too. But flashy badges that you can hack to do whatever you want. And this thing has a Bluetooth interface. It has a serial interface. The firmware is open. You can pretty much do what you want with this. We figured that the sort of people that would like to come to this talk and this conference would get a real kick out of having one of these. And so it seemed criminal not to grab handfuls of these things and bring them back here. It is actually a RUSTAsia project. And there is a barcode up there. There's also a barcode on the back of the badges. So if you scan that, it will take you to the project page where you can find the source code for the firmware. You can find the source for the Android apps, the iOS apps. There's also Python, and most importantly, there is a Rust library for interacting with this. And basically have fun with it. Now, what I would really appreciate is if you would kind of tolerate taking a photo of this badge, because I need to demonstrate this was a really, really good idea and that we should buy more badges and cool stuff in the future. Now, it is a hackable badge. I would appreciate it if you waited until after the conference to hack it to say rude things and do things that it probably shouldn't. We're not responsible for anything you do with this thing once it leaves the building. This is the new version of the hardware that's coming. It's not the version you've got, but it's what the project is aspiring to and has prototypes of. The really kind of cool thing here is it has depending if you're interested in privacy or gaming, you might want to remove this. I put it into the wrong place. So you have it, this version actually has a microphone, but it has a nice hardware switch so you can turn the thing off and know that it's off. This is that you can create things that respond to audio. You can make games and stuff like that with it. And basically have fun is really where we're going with this. That small link, so like I said, it's also a Google Summer of Code project. I'm one of the mentors for it. If you are interested in playing around with it, I'd be very interested to have you project. So this is something we added kind of last minute, so the details are scarce. But what we're interested in is, well, we've given you a badge that has some pretty cool hardware on it. We've given you the firmware and we've given you the libraries to do it, and a whole community that likes fiddling. What if we gave you guys a couple of weeks? What could you what could you do with this? So to make it a bit more interesting and slightly more competitive, we will invite applications, submissions of weird and wonderful things that you can do with a badge. Obviously, ideally with Rust, with the potential of winning one of these. So this is one of our products. It's AirCove Go. It's a mobile Wi-Fi router. It has ExpressVPN firmware built into it. One of the really nice features it has is the Wi-Fi link. So if, for example, you're on a plane and they want to charge you $50 to get on Wi-Fi and then only let you do it on one device, you can actually connect through this, let it connect to the Wi-Fi, and then connect anything you want to it, and no one's the wiser. And of course, it also has the VPN built into it, so all the things that you're sticking behind that will also be disappearing in the ether. It's also great for hotels, and it's like so big. So it's quite nice. So yeah, I'll figure out the actual details to share more at the conference itself, because like I said, I only just thought of this. But I'll finish this up by saying, just a reminder, we are hiring. We are looking, like, if you think this competition is fun, you should talk to us. Okay, so, but again, have fun with these, enjoy, and I'll be very interested to see what you come up with. And that's it for me.
Okay.
I mean, I will take questions, but there's not really much to.
Yeah, I say I don't know if this is, maybe they have questions about the contest, or I don't know. Any questions about anything so far? Maybe even about ExpressVPN. What's the hiring process, etc. No.
So the main roles that we're hiring for at the moment. So we recently released a Lightway, which is our core VPN protocol. It's all open source. About a month and a half ago, we released a Rust version of it. So we took what was an audited, fully operational C core, and we've rewritten the whole thing from scratch into Rust. One of the guys who did it, standing over there, those two. I didn't do any of it. I talk about it a lot, but I didn't actually do any of the work. That code base is fully audited, so we've got 2 separate independent auditors came and checked it out. I think they're a bit depressed that it was Rust, because the usual go-to is to look for undefined behavior, which doesn't exist in there, so that was entertaining to watch. But as for the specific roles, it's primarily to build on the products, which is basically anything privacy. So make Lightway better, make it faster, add more features to it, improve customer experience, that sort of thing. And that can be anything from low-level enhancements to the protocol itself. So, for example, the coolest thing I've seen anyone do with it, I think mostly out of spite really, was to make it work, make you have a Lightway connection over Google Sheets. So rather than using TCP or UDP as your transport, it used the Google API, and it would write packets into cells. One would write in column A, would write in column B, and they would read the opposite direction. Latency wasn't great, nor was throughput. But if you're... It's great. It's extremely observable. You just need to scroll a little bit. But the protocol itself was designed this way. Like, if you look at the core, there's no mention, there's no threads, there's no networks, there's nothing like that. It's the pure implementation, with the idea being that you're going to take this, embed it, and do cool stuff with it. If you're an expert in a particular embedded platform, you probably have a custom SDK. You don't want a binary blob that you have to hack around to try and make it work. With this, you can wire up the callbacks however you want, and if you don't like it, you can change it. So potentially you can embed it in anything you like. And yeah, we're still figuring out how far we can take it. But really, the sky's the limit. The main thing we're looking for, though, is interest in the space. Like, does privacy interest you? Are you looking to make it better? Do you have a passion for Rust and basically fiddling with things? And do you want to build something more? Is really what we're doing. That is, I admit, a fairly vague description, but the role is vague in that sense. We don't have roles that are very prescribed. We don't have a role that says you're going to sit here and you're going to work on this UI element. You work where you need to work. You change what you need to change. And we have a super supportive team that's very knowledgeable, but also very interested in these things. So often you'll find something weird. Literally, you're probably the first to ever come across it, because we're looking at new stuff. And it's not unusual that we get a few people standing around a desk wondering why something is working, or more usually why something is working, which is usually much more suspicious. So the roles themselves are quite diverse, and we're happy to talk to anybody and just see, are there things that you want to do and they overlap with what we want to do? Does it seem like a good fit? Like I said, we have roles all the way from like intern roles where maybe you don't have like proven experience but you just really like programming and you've hacked together some projects in your spare time and you'd like to see where that can go. We want to talk to you. If you happen to be a maintainer of, say, like Tokyo, and you implemented this sort of async runtimes, we would very much like to talk to you because we want you to come in and teach us how to do what we're doing better. So we have the entire spectrum of knowledge in that sense. And there's, honestly, if you're interested in Rust, you're interested in privacy, there's pretty much something for everyone on the spectrum. That said, we also have the Linux side. That's a primarily trusted server. It's an operating system that runs entirely in memory. Again, it's fully audited, both in terms of the technical implementation, again, I think by Cure 53, but also by KPMG in terms of the controls and processes that we put into place as evidence that we actually do what we say we're doing, that we meet a privacy policy. The gold standard there that everyone is trying to get to is to reduce the amount of trust you have to put in us. And it's like when you work with a partner, it's not that I don't trust you, but if I don't have to trust you, then our relationship gets so much easier because I know there's certain things that you can't do if you want to do because the rules we put in the system prevent it. We want to move further and further towards those sorts of destinations. Cool. Let's go off there. Cool. Hopefully that answers it. I know, again, it was quite vague, but again, if there's any like specific like point question you want to ask, I'm happy to answer. And again, feel free to ask anyone else.